Welcome to Stuff and Whiskey. I'm Josh.
And I'm Erin.
And today we're talking about why it's the best and the worst time to be a fan of bourbon.
Welcome to the channel, bringing a real-world perspective to the real-world whiskey consumer.
Today we're talking about why it's the best and maybe the worst time to be a fan of bourbon, or maybe that should be opposite. Maybe it feels like the worst time to be a fan of bourbon, but I'm going to posit that there is hope on the horizon. So we'll get into that in a minute, but first we got to get into the first sip, which is where we try something that we've never tried before, and we're also trying it totally blind, so we have no familiarity with it. I'm getting so much better at saying that word since we've been doing this segment. Let's get into the glass. Some of these are allocated, some are available. We don't know what we're sipping. On the nose.
Cheers.
Cheers. Super sweet.
It smells very sweet. Sweet and alcohol. Like sweet alcohol.
I'm not even getting alcohol. I'm just getting one note and it is sweet.
No.
It smells like the letters SWEET are coming out of this glass and into my nose. Just sweetness.
It smells like you opened a bottle of rubbing alcohol and left it open on the counter, and then there's some sugar nearby.
It is really sugary sweet. I'm trying to zero in on what the sweetness is. And for me, it's more of just like a candy sweetness. I say this a lot. When I get sweetness, I tend to think, is this more fruity sweet or is this more candy sweet? This is definitely leaning more towards the candy side of the equation.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to pinpoint what candy it is. I'm leaning towards chewy sprees. And I really like chewy sprees.
I was just about to think sprees.
I really like chewy sprees.
Not sweet tarts. We've said sweet tarts before,
Yeah.
but I was literally thinking sprees.
It's a different kind of sweetness, and as far as I'm concerned, chewy sprees are the king of that type of candy, unless I'm in the mood for chewy sweet tarts, and then in which case, those win.
I always prefer chewy sweet tarts, but sprees are not bad.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the palate.
It doesn't taste as sweet on the palate to me as I expected it to after smelling it.
I beg to differ.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it is grounded with some oak on the back end to kind of temper that sweetness down a little bit, but the sweetness that is there is, I mean, honestly, chewy sprees. If you like chewy sprees, then get whatever in this glass. This is a candy sweetness.
If you can.
Yeah, candy sweetness. That's about it. It kind of rolls off into the oak on the back end.
Okay, I'm getting a little more sweetness on the second sip.
Yeah, the oak.
That first sip didn't hit me with sweetness though.
Yeah, the oak that's there is really, it's a sweet oak. It's a decent finish. This is like kind of bourbon. This is just what bourbon tastes like, but really enjoyable.
After cleansing my palate with water,
Yeah.
I'm getting, it's like more oak forward.
Yeah. And I don't think I can summarize it any better. I've taken 2 sips, but the experience is the same on both. I'll take one more sip just for posterity's sake, but this glass is as delivered. Sweetness on the nose,
Yeah.
sweetness on the palate, oak on the back end.
I feel like what you smell is what you get,
Yeah.
which isn't always the case.
Yeah. All right, I got a handle on this glass. Do you?
Yep.
Let's give some ratings. So,
Okay.
nose, flavor, experience, where are you at on this glass?
This is a very solid pour. Thumbs up on nose, thumbs up on flavor, thumbs up on experience.
Yeah, I'd say it's that for me across the board as well.
No surprises, but good.
No, yeah, good solid pour. I'd be happy having a bottle of this.
Yeah.
It's almost to the point of being too sweet without any of the darker notes that I tend to prefer. So it's probably not something I would revisit a ton.
Okay.
But the oak that's there, I mean, the sweetness and the oak balance that you're getting is really nice, really enjoyable. To me, this is like a warm weather sipper.
I get darkness though. I think I might differ from you.
The oak is really present, so I don't mean to imply that it's not with that. It's just, it's not super caramel vanilla forward.
Okay.
It's more, when I say darkness, that's what I mean. I really like heavy-handed caramel and vanilla pours.
Okay.
This is kind of lacking that. It's slacking on the vanilla and the caramel, and I want a little bit more of that.
But it's not bright. So for
Right.
me, when something is
Yeah.
not bright, it would tend to be more heavy. So I think
That's fair.
Just our definition is a little different.
Yeah, it's really sweet, almost to the point of being like a syrupy sweet, like a cough syrup almost, but not medicinal. So really good. Let's find out what it is, and then we'll talk about it. I'm thumbs up across the board. You're thumbs up across the board. Whoa, this is Weller CYPB.
What's CYPB?
CYPB stands for Craft Your Perfect Bourbon. It's 95 proof.
Oh, wow.
It's a very, very, very highly allocated bottle.
Really?
That I think MSRP's, I think the suggested retail price is around $60 or $70.
Okay.
It sells for 10 times or more of that on secondary. People pay $700 to $900 for this bottle.
Shut the front door.
I won't, because that's what people pay for.
This is a solid pour, but gosh, $700 to $900.
It's from the Buffalo Trace Distillery. You're getting that weeded mash bill sweetness that comes through. You're getting a lot of oak on it that you don't typically get.
Okay.
But it's good. It's really good. Like, it's super enjoyable to just sit down and sip. But like I said, it's kind of lacking some of those darker elements that I really like in a pour. So maybe it's a personal preference thing. It's not blowing me away. Some people absolutely love this. Other people think it's overrated. Only you could be the judge if you get to try it.
Okay.
I quite enjoy it, but I'm also not paying $700 for it.
Yeah, I like it, but let's get into retail score because I have some questions for you.
So retail side of the equation, $70, but unobtainium unless you get it in the year-end lottery, or you got to go pay $700 on secondary for it. What do you think?
If I can't get it for retail, then it's a thumbs down because I'm not paying over retail for it.
It's so hard. I got to give it a thumbs down on retail too. But let's say you walk into a store and it's sitting on the shelf in front of you for $70. Are you buying it?
Possibly.
So just okay?
So that gets to just okay because $70 is kind of pushing it for me as far as just like a regular bottle.
For what's in this glass?
For what's in this glass, this is a good solid pour. But it's not a special bottle, and my special price range is a little higher than my regular price range, and 70 is out of my regular price range, and you're going more towards a special price range, so it's just okay. It's good, and if I could get it at retail and I had money, yeah, I'd probably buy it, so we'll do just okay.
Okay. Now that I know it's CYPB, and I smell it and I sip it, sipping it still kind of comes across as the same experience, but smelling it, it smells better now that I know it's CYPB.
Of course it does. That's why we do these blind, dude.
Retail is going to be, I said thumbs down on retail.
Yeah.
But would I buy it again if it's sitting on the front? If it's sitting on the shelf in front of me?
Someone's got some FOMO.
For $70, honestly, the rarity does play into it here.
It does.
I'm buying CYPB at $70.
And let's address this. I just kind of jokingly made fun of him for having FOMO, but rarity does play a factor in what people want.
It plays a factor into what I'll buy.
Yeah.
Honestly, this is actually a great point. If CYPB was a regular shelf product that just sat 6 bottles deep on every shelf in every liquor store around town and it was $70, I'd probably give it a just okay on consumer score. Because I like it a lot, but it's so sweet and it's kind of missing that caramel, vanilla, deeper undertones that I prefer, that I may or may not replace it. I wouldn't be in a hurry to replace it, I'll say. And I tend to like a little bit more proof as well. So there's that. But because it is such a rare product, if I walk into a store and it's $70 in front of me, I'm buying it all day long.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm finding it for retail. It's such a great deal. Yeah. And that is something that we don't talk about a lot on the channel, but I think it's worth noting. Like, if you do find something that is highly allocated or highly hyped up for retail, you almost feel like you're getting it on sale.
Kinda, yeah.
It's like a mind shift, like where you think you're getting it on sale, but you're actually getting it for what the company thinks it's worth.
That's actually a really good point. And that's why we do blinds so much, because with blinds, you don't know whether it's an allocated product or whether it's sitting on the shelf 6 bottles deep that are going to be there week after week after week.
You're just going on your taste that day.
Exactly. And so when I'm dealing with an allocated product, I really try to think about it in terms of, what if this were available all the time? How would I feel about it? You know?
Yeah.
And there's something to be said for that, because again, there's a lot of products on the market that are allocated, hard to find right now, but if they were just sitting on shelves all the time, I probably wouldn't be super jazzed up to buy them. But if I see one for retail, I'm snagging it immediately.
Right.
So think about that. I think that kind of helps temper FOMO a little bit, fear of missing out. If you're suffering from that, and you didn't get that bottle that was allocated that you wanted to get your hands on, or you saw everybody talking about. And if you like blind tastings like we do here, then check the video description below for our Patreon, because we do blind tastings over there as well. Not just on video, even though we do 2 additional videos. Did I say do?
You did say
I said
do.
do-do.
You said do.
If we do, or we do 2 additional videos over there every week where we taste things, sometimes blind, oftentimes not.
Yeah.
But we also do blind flight nights where you can get a blind flight and it's coordinated with a portion of the community, and we get on a private live stream together and we taste through, and you can find out for yourself whether things really hold up to the hype.
And they're so fun. They're
Yeah.
very chill, very low pressure. It's awesome.
Check that out. We also want to thank Phil and Julie from the Bourbon Van for giving us this sample.
Oh, they gave us this?
Yep, they did.
Thank you,
Weller
Phil and Julie.
CYPB. So it's super enjoyable. When I'm in the mood for something fruity and oaky and balanced, this is a great pour. Can't thank them enough. If you like what we do on this channel, you are guaranteed to like what they do on that channel.
For
So
sure.
go over there and check them out.
And
we'll put their link in the video description
They're
below.
awesome people. So if you don't subscribe to them, you probably should if you like awesome people.
With that said, let's get into our main topic where we're talking about why it's the best and worst time to be a whiskey fan, a bourbon fan.
Sure.
So let's start off with the bad, right? When somebody's like, I got bad news and good news, what do you go for first? You go for the bad news or good news?
I only want good news.
Oh, I want the bad news first. Let's
Don't
get the
give
bad
me
out of the
any
way.
bad news.
So why is it the worst time? I'm giving you the bad news first.
Okay, that's fine.
You just said you didn't want it. I'm giving it to you
It's
anyways.
fine. I'll take it.
If you saw last week's episode where we talked about pricing and retailers that charge secondary and all that stuff, the reason it's the worst time to be a fan of bourbon right now is because that bubble ain't bursting anytime soon. Hype is only going up, demand is only going up,
Yep.
supply is not increasing. This beautiful elixir does not happen overnight. It takes years and years and years to manufacture good
Let's
bourbon.
be honest. None of them happen overnight.
None of what?
The elixirs.
Wait, what?
None of the whiskey happens overnight. It
Right.
all takes time.
Right, it all takes time. That's my point. I'm so confused.
I didn't know if you meant that this specific one.
Oh, right. No, I meant all whiskey.
Okay.
Any good whiskey, any good bourbon takes time.
Yep.
So the bubble's not bursting anytime soon. That's why it's not the best time. That's actually why it's the worst time. If you're somebody that's hunting specific bottles that are really hyped up,
Okay.
just get ready to pay more and more money because the demand's only going up. And as long as we keep
It hurts my heart.
as long as we keep perpetuating the hype by hyping up these things, then it's only going to rise.
Yeah.
That's just a fact of the matter. I mean, it happens in the wine world. It happens in
It
every
happens
space
in-
out there.
In every world, you know,
Yeah.
in any market, that's going to happen.
And side note, but our blind tastings that we do here on this channel is our way to combat that. But that's what we do here. And if you can't get your hands on things you like, we would recommend trying blind tastings to kind of curb that fear of missing out a little bit.
It's been a great experience.
But let's get off the negative and shift towards the positive and
Let's
talk
do
about
it.
why it's the best time to be a bourbon fan. And I think part A of this is that the big distilleries are listening. Buffalo Trace is building new rick houses all the time.
Okay.
Bardstown Bourbon Company is building rick houses. All the big distilleries out there are building rick houses. All the little distilleries out there are building rick
new
houses.
distilleries, I feel like, all the time
And we're
popping
gonna
up.
and we're gonna get into new distilleries too, but all the distilleries out there, big and small, are listening. They're expanding. They realize that demand is up and it's probably not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So as soon as this stuff that they're expanding, these rick houses, come of age, that whiskey comes of age, then the market's going to have more supply, which will hopefully meet demand. Hopefully we don't completely outpace it with hype. That's my hope. With that said, it doesn't even matter because there's so much good whiskey on the market right now. There's so
is.
much variety. There's so much creativity. There's so much ingenuity in new distilleries.
Yeah.
And through our blind tastings, we found some fantastic new distilleries that you should absolutely be checking out. So this isn't like one of those, the 5, small distilleries that you should pay attention to. It's not one of those videos.
I want to get through a video one time without talking about New Riff, but
We
we're not.
can't.
We're
We
not
can't.
going to.
Because it's number 1 on the list. New riff. So
And I want to go visit New Riff. We've not even ever been there, but I freaking love this company.
So we love your Wild Turkey products. We love your Elijah Craig barrel proof products.
Yeah.
We love the Buffalo Trace products that are hyped up,
Yep.
like your 107 antiques, your full proofs. your Stag Juniors, your George T. Stags. We also love this stuff, and we are happy to get our hands on it. In particular, the single barrel proof offerings from New Riff. We love them.
Yes.
We absolutely love them.
And I've heard of some people having them and not loving them, but they are like a single barrel. So
Yeah.
as Josh always says, it's a single barrel roulette, but we personally have not had one that we've not liked. There are some that we like better than others, but we've not had one that we've just like,
Yeah, and they're also doing a lot of experimental stuff that's really cool. They did the winter whiskey, which was really good. They did the Balboa rye and the malted rye, which we didn't get to try, but we heard were great, as well as the red turkey wheat. They're doing a ton of interesting, fun stuff, and they're a new distillery, so they're doing great work. Let's push that to the side.
Okay.
Another new distillery doing great work is Wilderness Trail. Wilderness Trail is fantastic. Shout out to Phil and Julie from the Bourbon Van. I know that this is an absolute favorite on their list. They said it was amongst their top tier of distilleries that they visited when they were going through Kentucky.
have I had this?
I think you have had this. Yeah, you've definitely had it when I've had it, but it hasn't been in any of our blinds.
I would like some.
So this is a pick from our local group, or our local club, National Bourbon Social Club, and it's got NBSC is life. Little Ted Lasso sticker there, little Easter egg. This is a 4.5 year 98 proof pour.
Okay.
But we have other bottles of this, and other stores in the area get cask strength like 115, 117 proof offerings. Weeded, high rye. They're doing really interesting stuff. They have literal scientists at the helm making really good whiskey. Huge fan of what Wilderness Trail is doing.
This is very good. I just tried it and I can confirm. I like it.
You can't say that it's not the best time to be whiskey, the best time to be a bourbon fan in the whiskey world, when things like New Riff and Wilderness Trail are out there. And additionally speaking, Starlight, this is a bottle we just got.
Yeah.
The apple brandy finished bourbon.
We haven't even opened it yet.
We haven't even opened this bottle yet, which is rare for a bottle to make it more than a day or two not getting opened around here.
Yeah.
But Starlight is doing amazing things, especially, I think, in their finished ryes. This is an apple brandy. This is an apple brandy finished bourbon that is amazing. And Starlight is just doing great stuff. This is their own distillate coming out of Indiana. They're doing really good work. I've never tried anything I haven't tried a ton of Starlight, but everything I've tried I've liked. So it's been good. So the other new distillery out there that's really impressing us is Chattanooga.
Yeah.
And this bottle in particular, the port cask finish, we tried this thing and it was just like fruit and cheesecake and like all the beautiful things in the world.
I don't remember this.
So we tried this on a Patreon video, one of our extra videos, and our friend Eric David Gunderson gave us the last little bit of this bottle, and I'm like, man, hold on a minute. Chattanooga is doing big things. And the 111 is really good. Chattanooga is doing great things. Also a little bit of home state love there in Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Those are new distilleries, but not only is it a great time for new distilleries because craft isn't so crafty anymore, but it's also a great time because blending is becoming a much more integral part of the bourbon scene.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
I didn't know that.
We've got our new distillery section. Now we have our blending section.
Okay.
So
let's do it.
The Bourbon Pursuit podcast, Kenny and Ryan do Pursuit United, and they've done single barrel Pursuit Limited, whatever they call the single barrels. But this batch product that they're doing, they're sourcing whiskey from Tennessee, Kentucky, and New York distillery.
I don't think I've tried this.
You 100% have not tried this.
Can I?
But I'm putting it on the list. Erin's just trying everything tonight.
So Josh, we talk about topics before we film, but he didn't go into like the details of what we're going to do tonight.
I like you to be surprised.
Yeah, and so I'm very interested.
So Pursuit United is a great blend. They're doing really good work. This is coming in at 108 proof for $70 in our market.
It smells like a smoky log cabin.
I mean, if you're paying $70 or $80 for Weller Antique 107 and you can't get it in your market like most people can't, well, this is one more proof point, about the same price. And Kenny and Ryan are doing great work with blending. You're getting a really well-crafted product.
Yeah.
And they've got a rye out now that they're not offering in Tennessee, and I'm trying not to hold a grudge about it.
They're not offering it in Tennessee?
No, it's only in a few states, but it's coming to more.
Okay, well, maybe we know somebody in one of the states, because I love rye.
Maybe. Additionally speaking, Bardstown Bourbon Company is doing amazing stuff with blending. This is their Fusion series, which we've tried 4 and 5. This is 4. It's kind of spice forward. Great pour. We've tried 5. I thought it was like some amazing Buffalo Trace product. It was super sweet, super sugary, great pour. We need to get our hands on 6. I love this stuff. We also love their Discovery series, but Bardstown is doing great stuff with blending with their own distillate and mixing in some legacy distillate, we'll call it, from some of the bigger distilleries in Kentucky, Tennessee, and Indiana. So the last thing we'll have on the list as far as blending goes, can't have a video from us talking about masterful blending without talking about barrel. I could have put
get the Seagrass.
I could have put Seagrass on here, which is one of our favorite ryes. It is our favorite rye of 2021.
Yeah.
But this is barrel batch 27, $90 about for these things. Absolutely incredible. Barrel's doing amazing stuff in blending and finishing, which shout out to Starlight as well and Chattanooga for doing great finishing work. With these new distilleries, with these masterful blenders, with all this finishing that's going on, it's hard for it to feel like it's not on the cusp of really big things in American whiskey.
So you just explained 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 brands that are fairly new-ish. Like,
oh, they're
like, this is why it's a really good time to be into whiskey right now, because there are so many cool things to try. And I am not as whiskey nerdy as Josh is, but I get excited about this kind of stuff. And even though, like, yeah, it's just cool. Yeah,
it's a really cool time, guys. So if you're out there and if you're feeling the fear of missing out on your Wellers and your Pappies and your Blantons and your Buffalo Trace products.
Oh, there's stuff coming down the pipeline.
That stuff's coming. They're building more. But even if you can't get that stuff, there's so much other good stuff out there. Definitely try it. Try to get plugged into a local group where you can try some of this stuff before you buy it. Maybe exchange some samples. That's what we did, and that's how we found a lot of this stuff, because quite frankly, we get it. If you don't want to go out and spend 30, 40, 50, 60 bucks on one of these bottles, one of these unknowns, you want to try it before you buy it.
Yeah.
And that's where a local community can come in handy. So that's kind of, that might as well be our other stuff, but let's actually get into our other stuff this week. And that is luggage of all things. But we love this stuff.
Yeah.
Again, hashtag not sponsored.
Not sponsored.
We're not doing any sponsored content here. But our luggage that we got, we bought it as gifts to ourselves right before 2020 turned into an absolute, mess.
Nightmare.
Dumpster fire. That's the word I was looking for.
Yes.
But we bought this luggage. We were getting ready to go on our honeymoon, our belated
honeymoon / 1 year anniversary to Italy.
Yep.
Which never happened,
and
by the way.
We bought some away luggage, and then all that got shut down. Nonetheless, we went on a trip recently and got to take it with us. We've also taken it to family gatherings and things like that.
We've gone on several trips.
Yeah.
And then we've also gone on one international trip since we've purchased this luggage.
Yeah. And we're like dragging it across rocky roads.
Gravel streets in the British Virgin Islands, trying to find some like restaurant where we can take lunch.
Yeah. And I'm sitting here thinking like, this luggage is good, but it's not super pricey. I'm thinking the wheels are going to snap off. We're going to be toting this stuff around.
Yeah.
And it held up to hard international travel.
And we did not bring it here because it's very large to
it's
show.
Big. We'll put a picture on the screen.
That being said, they have many different color options, and I have the white version, and that has held up and still looks beautiful.
It's international carry-on size, or you can actually get different sizes.
You can get different sizes. We have the carry-on size.
Yeah, we have the one that'll work internationally. You can get the bigger one if you're going to stay local to the States, or you can get a smaller one if you want, or if you just want. There's all kinds of stuff you can get over there, but we're huge fans of it. Coincidentally, through the watch world, one of the initial people that was involved in it is also a watch guy.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. And he likes to travel with his Seiko Turtle, and I have a Seiko Turtle.
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah, Mark Cho. So shout out to Mark Cho. But yeah, it's good stuff.
It's great
stuff. We really like it. The price point is probably more than you're gonna pay for something at
TJ Maxx.
Yeah, something like that. But the quality is really up there, and it's nowhere near the price you'll pay for like luxury luggage.
Right, and it is worth the price.
Nonetheless, cool stuff. Check it out. Thank you guys for watching. That's it for this week. Till next week.
Cheers.
Cheers.